Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joshua Pentellaresco. I write stuff and podcast too, and this is episode 103 of Just Joshing. Welcome. Today I am interviewing Sidney Steele and Bradley Graham. They are two local independent wrestlers. Wrestling is an interesting art form. I'm going to call it an art form here. Truthfully, it's a combination of sports and theater. You have these... At its best, wrestling is about two larger-than-life characters, whether it's someone like the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah! And everybody I know knows exactly who that is when you hear that very famous line. Maybe it's Ric Flair he's fighting. Maybe it's Jake the Snake Roberts. Maybe it's Hulk Hogan. Like, wrestling back in the day was really about a tale of two characters that are in conflict with each other. And in the course of a match, they tell a story of good versus evil, which is an interesting combination of pain and theater. And if it's done really well, it's an amazing story. And like I said, whether or not the outcomes may be predetermined, but the athleticism is very, very real. It is a unique art form in that it combines so many different aspects, but purposes of this podcast, I want to focus on the storytelling, because storytelling makes or breaks anything. Good fight scenes in movies, good like they have a story to them. Like there's a reason they're fighting. There's a reason that what you're seeing on that television, if it's done well, is happening, and it makes a kind of sense most of the time. And wrestling and stunt work is actually not that different. But like I said, I digress a little bit. But truthfully, I think it's an underappreciated art form, and you should go to a local show if you can, because grant you sometimes they're young and they're very young, polished what you see in the ring, but sometimes you get to actually get taken into a ride of a good versus evil kind of thing, which is always really, really cool. All right, on with the show. Here's Bradley Graham and Sidney Steele right after these messages. Looking for my archive episodes of Just Joshing? You can do so on my YouTube channel, Joshua Pentellaresco, Joshua There you will find past episodes with guests like Susie Vidori, Ron Bender, Ella Beaumont, Colette Turner, Chadwick Ginther, and more. Check out my YouTube channel right now.
Sure, man.
Okay,
Yep.
So I'm turning this on right now.
Yep.
It's on.
Good.
So I am with. Okay, guys, might as well just say your names again.
I'm Bradley Graham.
And I'm Sidney Steele.
All right. So you guys are professional wrestlers.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. You'll go with that. Totally.
Yes.
Totally. Okay. So my first question is, Okay, I'll start with Sidney, because
Yep.
I do know Brad a little bit better.
Yep.
How did you get into the pro wrestling biz?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I was 18 years old. I was going to university, and I decided I didn't like anything but wrestling and working out. So I looked up. I'm from the Maritimes, so I looked up a pro wrestling school in Halifax, Nova Scotia, run by Wildman Williams, and I took my student loans and I paid for pro wrestling school and dropped out of university.
I have an odd bit of respect for that.
Oh, my parents didn't.
No. Your parents. I could, especially if it was. I can understand their concerns.
Yep.
But I mean, on the same token, though, man. I mean, if it's what you want to do, it's what you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know. So you decided that was what you want to do. So what made you fall in love with pro wrestling?
You know, I've loved pro wrestling since literally as long as I can remember, since I was a kid. I remember, growing up, watching Raw, Nitro, everything. I remember this was in Hamilton, Ontario. My dad brought me to my first ever pro wrestling show. Don't remember much about it, except for the fact that the Macho Man was in the main event, and I'm pretty sure in a closet somewhere at my parents' house is still the lime green Macho Man Randy Savage foam finger.
That is awesome.
Oh, I love it. And I've been in love with it since as long as I can remember. And the first time I ever went to an indie wrestling show, sat in the audience, and it was, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do, and never look back. Yeah.
So I'll give you a macho. I have a buddy of mine from Arizona. He actually drew a print of the macho. I have a wall of Zen. So up there is Pong, Invader Zim, and Macho Man Randy Savage.
Nice.
My buddy Brad is smiling like a kid in Christmas with all three of those.
Nice.
Just that's a good wall.
Oh, that's a good wall.
That's a good wall.
That is a very good wall. So no, Macho was like, I loved him. Like everybody loved Macho in like the '80s. I think his NWO run was a little underrated in the '90s, a little bit, because I'm sorry, he was just he went nuts. He was pile driving referees. He was just beating up. He was beating everybody up.
Oh yeah.
And it was just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just my take on the Macho. Who are you a big fan besides Savage? Obviously. Who are you a big fan of? Like in your work, who do you like?
I love the guys, the Ric Flairs, the Rick Rudes, the Mr. Perfects. I'm big fan of the bad guys, obviously, and big fan of that larger than life, better than everybody else kind of personality, right?
So Sidney Steele is a larger than life, better than everybody else kind of person.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, totally. So I guess you prefer being a quote unquote a heel.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I love I love both sides of it.
Yeah, there's two sides to every coin.
I love the fans.
Each side, but
I love the fans. I love being able to interact with the fans. But at the same time, I think deep in my heart, naturally, I'm more of the bad guy.
Well, it's fun being a bad guy because the thing. Okay, so when I write, my again, it's not quite the same thing. But I mean, when I write, one of the best things about it is like, you know what? I don't have to hold back. I can be mean. I can be. In fact, the better I am at being mean, the better reaction I'm going to get later.
Yep.
One of my favorite scenes I've ever written was when I had this bad guy waiting to kill his brother.
Yep.
And he had this thought in his head, like, I could go out and find him and kill him. And then he had this be like more like sinister thought. No. I'll wait for him. I'm going to get more enjoyment when he comes. I mean, there is something really, really, really freeing about being a villain.
Yes,
right.
There really is.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, since this is pro wrestling, you sooner or later you do get your comeuppance at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And I've had my fair share of comeuppance in the past.
Yeah. So, and I should probably be me with my other guest, Mr. Brad. How did you get into pro wrestling?
I can honestly say I wasn't a big fan growing up. It was on TV and I enjoyed it, but we had Peasant Vision, so it was on TV sporadically.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got my start in sports with football in high school, and I always joked that if I didn't go pro with football, I'd turn around and be a pro wrestler. But so football fell through. I ended up on the oil rigs for a couple of years, and one day I was coming home. I was getting close to spring breakup. I knew my rig would be shutting down real quick, and I heard a wrestler from Lethbridge on the radio doing an interview on CKXU, the university station. No one listens to it except me, of course. And I was like, wait, there's wrestling in Lethbridge, Alberta? And then so I messaged the group immediately, not knowing how far it really went. I didn't realize, there's wrestling in Lethbridge, Calgary, Edmonton, all over the place, small towns. And so I got my start doing that. I wasn't a huge, can't say I'm a huge fan. It just gives me purpose. Keep in the gym, keep developing new skills.
Well, you're an interesting dude all the way around, because I met you when we were doing a comic drawing course back.
The graphic design.
That's when I met you, and we actually got along. We hit it off fairly well, even though I gotta admit I was the only guy that could not draw in that class. But the thing is, because again, for me, it wasn't so much about me being good, thank God, but but it was about me because I'm a writer in comics, and being a writer in comics, it's good to do things even on the visual end if you're not good at it, because it makes me a better collaborator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I did it. Even though I was like these immaculate pieces, he did some really cool stuff. You should have seen immaculate pieces, stick figures.
It looked like you held the pencil wrong and just went at it.
Yeah. But you gave me props for trying.
Oh yeah. No, you can't fault the guy for trying, man.
Yeah. I mean, I knew deep down inside that this is like, again, these are hardcore artists. I'm like, what am I doing here? But I met him, and the other cool thing, like you've done all kinds of neat things. Like you draw, and you're very good at it. You fly,
Yep.
right? Which is, I mean, it's something I still kind of want to get into at some point down the road. So what can you fly?
Small single-engine aircraft.
Yeah.
I've got my private license. I can't fly for money. On the DL, you know.
It's just the three of us that's ever going to hear this, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, just single engine. I don't have the license to do twins. And yeah, I can upgrade and get my float endorsement to fly float planes and stuff like that, but
Yes.
that's down the road.
Fly for fun.
Fly for fun.
Well, yeah.
That's I had started with the intention of flying commercially, and I finished the private license, and I realized, like, you know what, like, I enjoy this enough. I don't want it to become work, so I held back.
No.
Well, could you imagine you step on the commercial flight and you walk in and you take a look and it's 6'2", 369 pounds of the big sexy beast saying he's going to be your pilot this evening.
No hijackers.
Yeah, no. I mean, I mean, on a personal note, I mean, you're definitely, I'm the guy to try to beat up of the three of us on this table. I mean, I'm definitely the guy to try, and I look kind of crazy too. So I mean, it's kind of, so it kind of works. I mean, but every time I see you, man, you just get bigger. Yeah, it's just like
Sticking in the gym, man.
Yeah. What are you lifting right now? Like what's your normal?
You know what? I've got a shoulder injury right now.
Okay.
For the first time in over a month, I put up 315 on the bench. And when I think of my deadlifts hover around 550, 600, depending on how hard I work. And my squats are 400, 450. Nothing. No records broken, but enough to move myself around.
Yeah, no records. That's three of me. That's almost three of me. It's like, oh, here, Josh, and 1, 2. No, you're not the guy Rob on the plane. I'm just from what I have seen, because I have seen you perform as well.
Yep.
I mean, you're very skilled at what you do. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess, okay, and it's a question for both of you.
Yep.
We talked a little bit with him about the theater of it. So how about you? What do you actually thoroughly enjoy?
Man, I thoroughly enjoy being a heel.
Yeah.
I was good from the get-go, and I was good for 4.5 years.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, and I built a character. Just before I got the belt, I think that was the top of my character, my peak. And I dropped the belt, and people kind of fell off the wagon. So I figured, screw it, go bad.
Yeah.
But being Bradley Graham, the big sexy beast, is such a far cry from what I was before. I can do whatever I want. I can do absolutely anything. Change my gear. I can come out doing different stuff every night. Won't matter. It's still me, essentially, right? And it's fun. Yeah, like I said, there's two sides to every coin. Interacting with the fans, high-fiving all the kids, doing all the jobs and stuff, that's cool stuff. But when you're bad, man, everyone's booing you, just, shut your mouth, kid.
Yeah. You should literally steal candy from kids.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that at a Halloween show.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get to say all the things that you normally have to hold back.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, that's the thing, right? That's something like we were talking about. Like, it's fun. I'm just letting that side of you out in a way that and the best part is, I mean, and by and large, it's a way that's actually very healthy. No one's getting hurt. Everybody's having fun with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As long as you know it's there's no real harm intended.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There was a show a couple months ago up in Edmonton. I was doing my thing in the ring, and someone whipped a hamburger at me.
That's awesome.
So I mean, that's I'm doing the right job.
You're getting heat, my friend. You're getting heat. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So here's my question for both of you in terms of where you guys want to go with your careers. So I'm assuming like Alberta is not the only stop you guys want to do. Like obviously, like so Japan, Mexico.
You know, I would love to go anywhere and everywhere that they will take me to wrestle.
Yeah.
Been over the last few months, you know, expanding the area that I'm working in a little bit more, and
I'm starting to follow this guy around too.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that, you know, in the next few months I can maybe expand down into the States and a little bit farther east, and with any luck that can lead to overseas.
Yep.
Absolutely. You never know.
Yeah.
So
my goal, once I'm done college again, I would like to focus solely on wrestling. I would like to go to Australia and do a quick tour, and Japan and do a quick tour.
Yeah.
And you know, no real intent on ever coming back. But as you know, I get out there and I work, and if I work well enough, maybe I'll get a call back. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's all you can do.
Yeah. I don't see myself ever getting signed on for any big contracts.
You never know.
But it's a way to see the world too.
Well, I mean, okay. Now again, you're 369 pounds, and you look like you could literally crush anything you wanted to. I mean that look will get you, or at least will get you looked at, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's the one thing. Whereas you have to prove, unfortunately have to prove that you, especially
well, he needs to crush.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
To prove that he can crush.
Yeah.
Hit people hard, man.
With me, it's almost assumed. But with the guys that are even 200 pounds, 250, you still gotta work.
Oh, absolutely. No, again, it's the way it is. Sadly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the way it is. But I mean, so from a psychology point of view, because this is where I think stories are told. Like you guys use paint as your paintbrush. Like that's your paintbrush. He grins, but it's the truth, right?
I think Eddie Rude's gonna find some paint tonight.
But I mean, so what's this? Do you have like a particular kind of match you enjoy having? I'm just and maybe I'm telling tales out of school here, but
You know, I've done a number of different types of matches, and I guess for the last year or so, it's been more focused on tag matches and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I found the ladder match really enjoyable. I found the cage match weirdly enjoyable. But I gotta say, my favorite is just a straight up singles match, two guys in the ring, and here you go, have at her.
Yeah, the gimmick matches are fun.
Yeah.
You're no DQs. We had a tornado tag last month in Lethbridge. That was a lot of fun. There's really no rules in that either.
Yeah.
What else have I done? Tag matches.
Flag match?
Oh yeah, flag on the pole match.
Yeah.
Those are fun. You can tell a really good story, a really good back and forth story.
Yeah.
Especially with that flag on a pole match. It was against Steve Rivers.
It was, yeah.
And he'd knock me down and he'd go for that flag and I'd grab him, and it was just a real back and forth. Excellent storytelling. But I gotta agree with Kevin. The best match is just a regular match. You go in there and you work. You tell. For me, it's usually speed versus strength.
Yeah.
Or couple cases, it's been like David and Goliath, wrestling really small guys.
Yeah.
But speed versus strength.
Yeah.
And you can tell the best stories with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it must be easy for you to get as a heel, especially when you're going against someone smaller. That must be really easy for you some nights.
Yeah, it's easy enough just to grab him, poke him in the eye,
Yeah.
give him. I actually haven't done any low blows. I haven't low blowed anybody.
No.
But what's your character do a low blow?
You pick him up like he's a baby.
Yeah.
I've been working a lot of nipple-based offense. Titty twisters, and I was watching. I wrestled Kevin a couple months ago in a singles match, and
Oh yes.
I picked you up by your nipples and gave you I guess it was a full Nelson slam.
Yep.
The Nelson was
A full nipple slam?
Full nipple slam.
Nipple slam.
That's right.
Yeah. And people loved it,
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's just the thing. You work something just so stupid.
Yeah.
And you've had titty twisters. You know it hurts.
Yeah.
But there's nothing the ref can do about it because it's a hold. Essentially, I'm trying to make him tap, right?
Yeah.
My only question is,
unconventional.
They're very, very unconventional. But I mean, on the same token, I'm surprised like the referee just doesn't crack sometimes and laugh at some stuff.
No, our referees are pretty focused.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know this from the last show I saw you at. A good referee and a bad referee can make a huge difference in a match.
Yep.
Yeah, that was in
Sure
Calgary.
Yeah, that was.
That was. I think it was my first one when I came. I don't think you were out yet.
No, you weren't. You weren't there. You weren't there. But we were watching. We were watching him. And again, good big man, little man match. But the ref was terrible. Terrible, and not just for him, for everybody. For everybody.
Was that the one that Davey Boy Smith?
Yep. Eventually punched him. I think it was real.
Oh, okay. We actually gotta go, dude.
Oh.
We're picking up a couple guys in Edmonton.
All right. So on that.
Sorry to cut it short, man.
No. We were. That's okay. It's the way it has to be.
Yeah.
So real quick.
Yep.
How can people find you guys?
You can find me on Facebook. I've got a page set up. Graham, Big Sexy Beast. You can find me on Twitter at OG Big Sexy Beast, and I'm also on Instagram as Boss Bradman.
Real easy to find me. You can find me on all the socials at Steel Star, SteeleStarr.
Okay, cool. So that's it. Okay, real quick before I go.
Yeah, for sure.
Before you guys have to go.
Thank you very much, Bradley Graham and Sidney Steele, for doing the podcast. Hopefully next time we get a little bit longer, as I feel we were just getting good before you disappeared, but I appreciate it nonetheless. If you saw a previous version I uploaded, I went a little long about a big decision. And if you remember it, very cool. If you do not, that's okay. I had a really good talk with a lot of people the last few days about some things I'm going to need to do. And the more I think about it, the more it's time for me to take some steps that are long overdue. I've made some promises to people about taking better care of myself, and I feel it's about time I live up to that. And like I said, I'm not looking forward to what's coming up. I'm not going to go into it here, but it needs to be done. And I want to thank Adam Dries and Taya Van Diepen in particular for hearing me out. It was you two that kind of... Taya was the one that actually kind of pushed me, I think, into that last part of this. And Adam, thank you very, very much for your support. It meant a lot. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap this episode up, hoping that listening to this, you have a better love for professional wrestling. It's a good story for him. Like the one thing I've learned as I've done this writing thing more and more is that every art ultimately tries to do the same thing, and that's tell a story. Wrestling uses theater and athletics to tell a story, usually of good and evil, of some form or fashion anyway. Sometimes it just talks a story of a good fight. Sometimes it's really, really good. A modern example of that is any kind of match you watch Brock Lesnar wrestle in, because his stuff feels like a fight, which adds a legitimacy that isn't in a lot of wrestling matches anymore. But by and large, it's good versus evil, heel versus babyface, and sometimes the heel wins, sometimes the babyface wins. All in all, though, it's always a lot of fun. And that will do it for this episode of Just Joshing. So if you want to support the podcast, you can do so a couple different ways. You can buy my books, The Watcher and Storm Dancer, which are available at mirrorworldbooks.com and amazon.com.ca, anywhere where electronic books or physical books can be ordered. If you do buy the book, I would love a review. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can do that through iTunes, or you can do that through Podomatic itself. If you like what you hear, spread the word. I greatly appreciate it. You can also sign up for my newsletter, tinyletter.com/jpantaleresco. JPANTALLERESCO. You don't have to do any of that stuff, but I would appreciate if you did something. But if not, I hope you enjoyed the podcast, regardless. And I hope, though, whatever you're doing out there, whatever goals you have, you don't stop and you go forth and do it. All right. I'll see you later on this week with my guest Andy Bone. But until then, stay inspired out there.
Josh.